DMS Reporter Templates. Here we'll take a look on how to create a template that we can then use to generate reports online or send it through email, typically like a scheduled based daily or weekly email reports that I want to receive. DMS Reporter Templates. Let's first take a look at the introduction, and then we'll create a brand new template. We'll also take a look on how to manage the existing templates, sending them, of course, through an email report, because that's still a scheduled task that I want to pick up that I created previously that I want to finish now. Some examples, and I'll also briefly manage. You can further customize them as well. So what I want to do is I want to send out this email report with some of the nice graphs and charts that I have available in the reporter. We already took a look at the reporter module where we saw some of the goodies that we have available in this environment. All kinds of graphs with how many alarms, which devices generated most of the alarms, some trend graphs. And I want to actually take some of those graphs and components, put them in a template so that I can easily generate them on my system or on a certain site. And maybe I just want to schedule them to send them daily, weekly, monthly to my mailbox, so that I can have a nice overview of how my system has been performing in the last 24 hours, for instance. So I can do this in the reporter and dashboard module once more, and more specifically this last page that we skipped previously, the templates page. So I will access the templates page by going to the DataMiner Cube interface. We have it over here, going to the apps, and then we go to the reporter and dashboards topic. So there we previously took a look at all the graphs that we have available there, but I don't want to immediately just go there on a daily basis. I'd rather receive them in my mailbox. So therefore I will create a template which is here available on the last page. So here I will add a new template, but first let's take a look at that step by step. I'll come back to the custom reports at the end as well. If we create a new report template here, we will need to specify as any object a name and description. Note the description is also displayed in the report, so be aware of that. The next thing I need to choose is if this is a template which is going to be applied on one specific element or service, or if it's on multiple elements or services. I select some of them, or I select a view that they are included in. It will depend a little bit on which one you choose, on the building blocks that you will have available. So either you go for element-specific building blocks or building blocks that can be applied on views and also iterate over the content. I'll create an example with multiple elements later on. The navigation menu option is here, whether it needs to be displayed here in the left-hand side menu. So you do have the reports here, and you can show some of the reports here so that they are readily available, or you can choose not to display it. If you choose to display it in this section, you can either choose to link to the template or the reports. If you link to the template, you still need to define what you want to run it against, for instance, site 1 or site 2, or you can immediately link it to the report itself, which will be applied then to the default settings. You can say, for instance, site 1 as the default one. The advanced options just includes the option to use the element descriptions instead of the element names. And then underneath there, you can start adding building blocks. So basically every graph we have discovered previously in the UI is available here, and you can just say like, oh, I want to add a list of elements, or a list of the alarms, a list of the elements. I want to have some state timelines or some status query or trend graphs in there. You can just add and pick and choose the building blocks that you want to add in there. As I mentioned, depending on whether you went for a single element or multiple elements, you will have different building blocks. Once you add some more building blocks, you will have the possibility on the right-hand side to change the order or to remove again certain building blocks. And of course, for every building block, you do have some configuration. So let's take a look. This first one, for instance, is the alarm distribution graph. And for an alarm distribution graph, we can choose the time span. Do you want to have it for last 24 hours, last week, last month? Do you want to include the average for a certain time span? Do you want to include all the severities or only the critical alarms, for instance, need to be displayed in here? So you each time have certain specific configurations for your building block as you have in the reporter UI as well. So again, for an alarm list as well, you do have the possibility, for instance, to filter it or to sort it, etc. Once you're finished by defining all of your building blocks, you can save it and then you can run it against, for instance, a specific site. Let's take a look at that and create an exercise in our DataMiner system. So I just already opened up my Reporter and Dashboards app from the Apps menu in DataMiner Cube. And I went to the last page, Templates, which is available in the System section. So System and then Templates. And I do already have some reports or templates available, and I can add a brand new one. Let's go for that and call it training underscore my first name. I don't worry about description in this case. Is it a single element or multiple elements? I will go for multiple elements in this example, and you can actually see that the drop down here already changes because different building blocks are available. But the nice thing with multiple elements is, of course, you can select a site then, and also you can iterate over all the elements inside that site and have a special building block here available that iterates over them. So I'll go for multiple elements and show you how that works. As I mentioned, you can show reports immediately in the left-hand side navigation menu for easy access, so you can link immediately to the template or the report itself. The advanced options is just a couple of options in there. We're not going to go into too much detail on those. Now we can add some building blocks. What I will add is very simply an alarm distribution graph to show you how that works. So we will see for our site, you can see the thumbnail there already, some alarm distribution, and we can do that, for instance, for the last month, because I want to see how many alarms I have generated in the last month for this site. The nice thing now is also for the building blocks, you do have a special building block in there, which is the elements and services container. So that allows you to actually go inside all of the elements of your site that you selected. And in that element specific building block, we can now add again building blocks for an element. So that's the same thing as you had at the top here for one single element. Now that's within this view or multiple elements context that we can add again the specific building blocks. So if I add an alarm distribution graph again, what's the difference? Well, here the first one was for my complete site, for all of the elements in there. The element specific is then going to be an alarm distribution graph for every element inside that view, and it will iterate over all of them. Next to an alarm distribution graph, which is also going to be last month, I will also add a trend graph, for instance, because I want to have a nice trend graph of, for instance, the CPU load that my servers in my Isaham site have consumed in, let's say, the last week to date average only. That's perfect. Perfectly okay. So it's going to generate me a nice report with how many alarms and some trend graphs that I want to further take a look at. I'm ready and I can now save my templates. So now I created my template there. So now I will be able to actually start using my templates. Before we do that, so first of all, on that page, we do have the possibility again to further edit an existing template that I created before. And of course, I can also close it or actually remove it. Be careful, that's a remove it. That is indicated over there. Now, if I want to run my template, I will need to run it against something, because now I only defined that I have a template including some alarm distribution graph and some trend graphs. So whenever you're taking a template or reports, you will need to specify which elements or services that are included and potentially which parameters. And in here, I can then send it off through email. And that's what I will do with my scheduled task that I created previously. So let's go back and now generate our report. So first of all, I will generate the report here in the UI itself online. So I just go to my training BERT. And what I will see now, I have the possibility to select one or more views. Actually, the root view is selected, but I don't want it for my complete system. Let's remove the root view and let's add the Europe, Belgium, ISEHAM. So operations, Europe, Belgium, ISEHAM, my ISEHAM view. Let me show you my ISEHAM view with in there my training Microsoft 1 and 2. All the elements, or you can actually just also say selected protocols and say show me all the Microsoft platforms in there. So I only have 3 different types in there. So I'm going for the Microsoft platform. And if you do that, you do have the possibility to also select one or more parameters, and I can also select that CPU load, and it will actually include a trend report or a trend graph for my CPU load, and I could add other parameters as well. So it's going to show me for the view ISEHAM all of the elements in there. Well, I said all. Actually, it's going to do that for the Microsoft platform, and it's going to include trend graphs of the CPU load. You can generate it as HTML or PDF. I'll just online generate it as HTML. So it's now gathering that information, gathering those trend statistics and alarm data, and here is my report. I can see the last or the month to date alarm distribution for my ISEHAM site. And I can see that I have around 100 alarms per day that I'm generating over the last 30 days. Per day, 100 alarms. If I scroll down, the table of contents indicates my 2 Microsoft elements, 1 and 2, that are indeed included in there. And I can see that Microsoft element 1 is around 50 alarms that it's generating per day. And I can see the CPU load of my server as well. And then for my second device, it's also around 50, so it's nicely distributed. The 100 alarms is evenly distributed across my 2 elements in there. And again, I have my trend graph of the last last week. Sorry, that's the last week that I selected. That's nice. I can run that online, but I don't want to do that every day online. Please send that to me. Let's pick up that scheduled task that we created before. So let's go back to apps and scheduler. And in the scheduler module, we went to list and we added a training _ BERT scheduled task there. So let me pick that up again and not execute. Let me first edit. So on the bottom, edit. Let's go back to the actions. One of the actions was, first of all, sending the email report notification in an information event, and then the effective email that is being sent to my account. Daily report, we still had a to do. So now we can say see below and include that report. Which report? That is, of course, our training _ BERT that we just created. The views, the same is going to be applicable as we were generating it online. So by default, it is showing me here the root view. No, I'm not going to select the root view, but I'm going to operations, Europe, Belgium, and ISEHAM. I'm going to select the ISEHAM site only. And all of the elements, well, no, I'm going to go again for the Microsoft. So I go for the protocol, the Microsoft platform. All the parameters? No. Only the CPU load. I move to the assigned parameters. So again, for the CPU load, this will now be included with a nice trend graph. So I selected the reports, attach it to my email. I selected the EasyHam site, and I said for all my Microsoft platforms with the CPU load, add that element specific data there. Okay, let's apply that and let's execute now. Yes, I want to execute. Let me check my email. And there it is already. Okay, so the email is arriving and it's looking exactly as it was online. So this is a nice HTML email. We do have the same information, around 100 alarms, and my two Microsofts, each generating around 50 alarms per day with the trend graph, the CPU loads for all of them. So I can now receive this nice email every morning. This information is going to be sent to me. So that's how you can send an email report and easily attach a report to your scheduled task, but also an automation script, for instance, can easily send an email report. So on various places, you can send these kind of emails in your DataMiner system. So this is now also an example with some SLAs, for instance, with a timeline where you can see if certain interruptions were happening. So you can see a couple of interruptions, and there's also a table output of each outage there was, with the begin timestamp and the end timestamp, and how many minutes the outage was happening. For the last month, we had 3 outages here, of each a few minutes. So this is a nice overview of all the SLAs. Each time a timeline, each time a nice output reading. A scatter graph included, a pie chart included. You can also include, of course, the trend graphs. So for the bandwidth utilization, for instance, of different services, again, a pie chart. So you can have nice email reports being sent out to you. As a final thing, that what I wanted to mention also is the template builder you basically have in the DataMiner system is outputting what we call ASP file. So that's like a web page file, and you can actually find them in the Skyline DataMiner web pages reports templates directory. There you will find what you have generated. So if I would go to the DataMiner agent, I would find there the training_berts.asp file. Why do I mention this? Well, actually, if you generated something with the builder, you can open up this file, and if you know anything about programming and ASP web development, you can actually start modifying this file and completely customize your how your report will look like. So if you want to take it a step further, and if you want to completely customize it, you can do so. But what I would like to say, start from an existing one and save it as another file as indicated here in the slides. And then you can manually add it again in the list and make it available by going to add new custom reports. If I would go here to my reporter again, reports and dashboards, and the templates. Now we don't have the add custom here, but if it would detect such a file that you added there, so you copy paste an existing file and rename it, like training BERT2 for instance, you would be able to add it as a custom report. If you add it as a custom report, you need to specify some details, what the inputs will be needed for this report, and then you can highly customize your reports as well. There is more information available in the help if you would like to go this way, with all the API description as well available in there. But in the UI, you can already create some nice reports. Typically, you can then schedule them for email reporting on a monthly or weekly basis. So that was email reports, or I should say reporter templates, the web interface allowing you to combine some of the graphs that we previously seen in a template, and then you can run it online, or you can run it in a DataMiner system to send it through emails. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one.